Hi, welcome to the Modern Renaissance Man Show. I'm Ben Copeland, the Modern Renaissance Man. You know, an interesting toy you can give your child that they can stare at for hours and probably not see anything. It's the little growing sea monkeys. I don't know if you ever had them in a little thing. I don't know what they really are. They're not really monkeys. What are these things?
Brine shrimp.
They're shrimp.
Brine shrimp.
They're shrimp. Okay. I've been wondering what that was.
Sound more fun to see.
Get some sea monkeys for your children. It's a pretty cheap thing probably. And they can sit around for hours and watch them. I'm about watching stuff these days. We've been hearing about the swine flu thing. We're shooting this about in April. It took me a few days to realize that they weren't talking about the big spending bill that the Democrats and Obama passed earlier in the year. I mean, it's so full of pork, I figured that's where all the swine flu was coming from. You're supposed to laugh. Yeah. Anyway, swine flu, spending bill. Which one was it? Anyway, Pelosi. Just gotta love Nancy Pelosi. She just changes the tunes about every other day. One of the things I was watching with the tea parties on the people who are rebelling against the tax, she's out there saying that was basically rich people who are coercing middle class to go out and complain about taxes. Let me tell you, Nancy, I don't need a rich person to help me complain about taxes. You know, I can do that pretty much on my own. The torture issues come up with her now, and she's claiming, you know, there's got some footage that says, well, she was okay with torture when it came out, when they talked about it in 2002. Well, I think she's saying that, well, when she heard waterboarding, she thought it was a new form of surfing. You know, she's from California also. I think that's where she's trying to say now, is that she just thought we were going to force all these people to learn how to surf. And that's how we were getting information from them.
That's not.
What's a 3G network? You see this commercial on TV, and I wonder how many people watch these telephone commercials and actually know what a 3G network is. And as if you didn't know that, now they're going to introduce you to a 4G network. What are these networks? Here's a very important thing in life that you need to know, particularly if you're male. Never, ever, ever ask a woman if she's pregnant. That is just the worst question you can come up with. The only thing worse than that is asking a woman, when is she going to have her baby, only to find out she already has. Man, stay away from those questions and you'll be okay. Those are common questions that actually can happen in the workplace. I don't know if it's harassment, but you might get beat up.
How much? How much? That's a bad one to ask too, I think.
How much?
Yeah.
How much what?
You know, how much money?
How much money you make?
No.
I'm with you.
Okay. We're going downhill fast. Here we go. Democrats been in power for 2 years. Why are they complaining about Bush? They're part of the problem too. If it sounds like I'm getting on my soapbox, I believe I will. A little bit of a serious topic tonight I'm going to switch to. Sometimes I do more serious than others. I'm going to talk about this torture issue. Imagine you hear about someone, say, who has killed children or is plotting to kill children or knows somebody's plotting to kill children. What would you do? Nothing? Imagine you hear that someone has killed thousands of Americans, or they know of somebody who is plotting to kill thousands of Americans. What would you do? Nothing? The dilemma. When is it okay to use torture to extract information? It's a big topic. Imagine a teacher hears from a student that another student has drugs on them at school. What should they do? School systems, including CMS, have now stepped across liberties and are able to strip search our children at school based on hearsay evidence that they have drugs. Recently, it was in the local Disturber that a girl in school that happened to. A student informed a teacher that they had seen this young female student, I think it might have been actually high school, with drugs. They called the student in, forced this young woman to strip down to her underclothes, forced her to pull her underclothes away from her body so they could look inside, only to find out that she had brought ibuprofen to handle some pain. Where was the due process? Where was the warrant? Where was the arrest? Where is the right that allows this to happen? People complain about the treatment of potential terrorists. I want to hear them talk about the terror that this does to our children. It's bad to torture to learn about terrorism and potential terrorist acts. To me, it's even worse to strip search our children in school for drugs. I'm not opposed personally, which is in conflict with what many of you watching may believe, with waterboarding if I know it's going to save thousands of lives. I am definitely opposed to submitting our children to socially acceptable torture, strip searching. To me, that is terrorism. What would you do? Hopefully more than nothing. That's the way I feel. And with that, while I wound down a little bit on for this topic, we're going to turn you on to some wonderful tunes by WavySpace, the Modern Renaissance Man Band. Glad y'all here.
Glad to be
Good
here,
to see you.
Ben. Thank you.
Glad you're watching The Modern Renaissance Man. Ben Copeland, The Modern Renaissance Man. You're not. Anyway, WavySpace, The Modern Renaissance Man. Check out we're trying to figure out is it a / or /, but it's myspace.com/WavySpace. So if your / doesn't work, try your /, and if your / works, then send me an email. Let me know about it. EdFox, my co-host. Come on out, Ed. Woo! All right. Yeah, missed you.
Oh,
You
yeah,
were here.
last time.
Yeah, you were out.
Okay.
And then you're going to bug out again the next time we do.
I'll be down.
You're going to miss the anniversary show.
I know, it's killing
That's
me.
the party show. That's the gift show. That's the eat the cake and the. Anyway,
Doggone it.
So, anyway, glad you're here. EdFox is this is local stand-up comedy and remote stand-up comedy and does some
That's right.
teaching on the side in the middle of all that. And
I wore my
anyway,
90s shirt tonight.
I
So
know
if people
some
watch
teaching.
this will be going,
The
when was that show? Was that 1997? It's an old episode.
Aren't they done? This is great.
I know. And
We,
Ori
we,
dressed
we
up
have
tonight.
got the band. Ari's hot.
Thanks,
Ari's
Ed.
good.
You're looking mighty fine yourself.
Whoa.
Nothing a gentleman.
Every time I show up, there's a new band member.
What's interesting is that off camera that she runs from me.
Oh, yeah.
Get away.
We all do.
Yeah, that's true. So does my family.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's a curse, really.
so what's going on with you?
Well, I got to say, I've been answering fan mail from the show.
Oh, great.
And I will say, here's a letter from a.
Well, I'm gonna shoot some host cam while you do that.
All right.
How about that?
But this one is asking about the action figures, the band action figures, Modern Renaissance Man action figures, and ours have been out.
I haven't seen profit from that yet, though.
It's once they start making a profit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me.
But
Yeah.
Shayna and Ari have had one, and Janine, I think her action figure's coming out, and now James will be out probably in mid-October. So fans,
Action figures, yes.
the action figures are on the way.
Well, we need to get it on the website of where you can find them at.
That's right.
I have to look
Modern
up.
Renaissance Man / something.
Something like www.mrmtv.org.
Yes,
And it's org because it sounds like it's nonprofit.
that's right.
Because it is.
Nonprofit. That's right.
Enough host cam. So, fan mail.
Fan mail, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of technical questions and questions about history and things like that, the state and history. Like last time I was on, I was talking about the state and history and how Robert E. Lee invented the game of baseball or something like that on whatever day that aired. And it turns out that wasn't correct.
Uh-oh.
So,
We
but I have a
misled a
new,
lot of people.
this date in history. I got a new one,
Uh-huh.
and this one involves the Chester A. Arthur administration and the original Teapot Dome scandal. Because the one everyone hears about is Warren Harding, but this one involved actual teapots and the lids you put on them,
Yes.
and which were called domes. And so it was kind of like government kickbacks and the teapot industry. So it was really sordid at the time.
Probably part of the first big spending bill.
It was back in the
Something slipped in.
late 1800s,
Uh-huh.
post-Civil War stuff. So on this date in history, the Teapot Dome scandal, the original one, came to a head today.
Yeah. Well, did anybody go to jail or?
Lots of people, heads rolled on that one.
No doubt. I mean, that's what happens when you're a pothead. You just
Yeah.
they just don't go well.
I was glad the band was there between your speech and my coming up. It's sort of like torturing kids and stuff like that. Hey, let's bring on EdFox, right?
That's right. Well, you're straight.
Hey, the band is on now. Yeah.
I just think they have this the museum here, the Museum of the New South. I've really sort of been paying attention to the Museum of the New South. Does that mean like South Jersey, South Bronx, South Manhattan, South Chicago, South Ohio, South Michigan, and now South Florida. We got them coming up the other way.
Yeah, I've never
Right.
been there. I mean, they've got a great building. I've walked around the outside, and there are. If you look at for those people who go downtown, there are the building blocks they use on to have all these shapes in them. Those are actual fossil worm burrows along the side.
I've been in it once, toured it once. It's an interesting place. I think some of it's a little skewed, but considering that I was here during the racial riots in the 70s with the desegregation of schools, and I think they missed a few things on that. One thing that they don't have that I've wanted to put in there that most people don't know was that my father is a retired police officer in Charlotte, and he and another gentleman were the first black and white police officers in the state of North Carolina permanently paired
Which one was
Did
he?
not know that.
together. My father was black, of course. Why even ask that? I thought that was obvious.
Was that back in the
Anyway,
70s?
That's why you run me off. I had to go live with him. So, Yeah, that was. It was during about the time of the desegregation, and it was real interesting because they both caught grief from their respective races.
Yep.
Because it's like, well, don't trust him. He's white. Oh, don't trust him because he's black. Oh, you can't. You know, he's liable to shoot. You know, and so they went through all of that. And I'll tell you what, the guy that my father's partnered with, he was like an ex-Marine Golden Gloves boxer. And let me tell you, you go into an alley and you're wondering who's there. This guy's about 6'3" or 4",
Yep.
huge man. I'm like, I'm with him, you know.
Yep.
He's big and just the nicest guy. But they caught a lot of grief, and they don't have that. They've actually been interviewed before. I know with the newspaper on TV, but it's like there's some pieces they're missing. But see, that's Charlotte. Charlotte is one of the things I've learned about Charlotte. Charlotte is like to invent new traditions because they like tearing down
Old ones.
the old ones.
For sure.
You know, we're getting a new mint museum. I don't know what's happened to the old mint museum.
I don't know. I was there a couple of weeks ago, and it was looking good. So
Was it?
That's a nice area.
Well, they're building a whole new building uptown. That's mint museum. I don't know what it's.
There's a craft and design mint museum branch up there. I don't know. You been up
Is it?
there?
This is like a 5-story building that they're putting in right there on about 500 block of Tryon Street. And this is supposed to be a mint museum. We're getting a new theater and
Well, I would say the
Performing Arts
Tryon Street.
Theater and-
If you remember the '70s in Charlotte, Trade and Tryon was a big pothead prostitution area, and now it's all nice.
they had some cool
Say
pawn
that.
shops.
Yeah.
I love the pawn shop. You've been to a pawn shop? You like to go to pawn shops?
Heck yeah.
Oh, pawn shops are, and the best time to go to a pawn shop, you can go to a pawn shop, go towards the end of January, because all these people that got all this stuff they didn't want at Christmas.
For Christmas.
They take it and they
That's
dump
what
it,
I
and
do with
you
my
get some.
stuff that I get for Christmas.
You
that I'm
get
not
some
gonna
good
wear.
deals somewhere between halfway through January and the end of January. That's the time to go pawn hopping.
I've never been in a pawn shop.
No kidding.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're missing out.
I
man.
am?
You're really missing out.
My wife wouldn't go because she said
This
you get
weekend.
shot there.
I found a perfectly good game of Scrabble for $1 in a pawn shop. It had all
Nice.
the little tiles.
Uh huh.
They have the spinning board,
That was a find.
Did you check them all? Make sure they were all there.
all 100
Oh,
times.
yeah.
I bought TVs there before. I've bought some tools there before. Bought golf clubs there before. I love pawn shops. It's sort of like a neat flea market. You can get some really cool stuff. But
I could check it out. I know there's one in Pineville.
well, my wife,
South
like she said, she
Boulevard.
wouldn't go there because she said she was taught that you get shot.
Yeah.
At
Get shot at pawn shops. I told her, said, well, generally the people in the pawn shop working there probably have the better guns, so it's
Yeah.
probably safe. Now, parking lot could be a different thing, but while you're inside the pawn shop, you're probably pretty safe.
You can get guns at pawn shops.
That's true, too.
So you can go in there to get.
That's right. So you can buy your gun, buy your bullets, and
Exactly.
or bring your bullets.
And then you'll be ready to go
Yeah,
to
that's
the
right.
pawn
And
shop.
then be ready to go out back into the parking lot, so that anybody tries to get
Yeah.
you. You take the stuff you just bought and pawn it.
Yeah.
You can pull your gun on them.
Yeah.
So, where you been doing comedy at these days, yeah?
Wow, it's been local
Mhm.
mostly. I did like a country club gig up in Denver back in early March, and then I did a private party in late March, and that's been
Private
about it
parties?
here in Charlotte.
Tell me what's a private party like?
Well, it was a fundraiser for some needy families in Charlotte, and they needed a comic to come in and do some time, so I went in there, and a guy named Kevin Alderman, we sort of tag teamed it, and
So you're in there making fun of needy families?
well, no, that doesn't really play well in that kind of.
Because you're talking about me and the torture thing.
Yeah, no. But this summer, once school's out, then I'll have a little more time
Mhm.
to hit the road. So
Now you're going somewhere during the anniversary taping. Where are you heading to?
I got to chaperone my daughter's at the school. She's taking a trip down to the beach, and I'm
Mhm.
chaperoning that.
Oh, that's
So,
torture.
It's 4th and 5th graders for a week
Ooh.
at the beach, sleeping in tents.
Oh, that's not too bad. They're at least that's
Yeah.
right before the major hormone kick in.
Yeah, but still,
for some.
4th and 5th graders frighten me
Uh-huh.
because I'm not around them. I don't deal with them that
What
much.
age do you normally teach?
I mainly teach 14-year-olds, which is
Mhm.
fine with me. I know they scare a lot of people, but
Mhm.
I like that age group.
Well, Kate's going to turn 15, so
Yeah.
she's a young woman now, and that's interesting. As much as I try to argue that we're really not alike, but she's probably the only person that's worse than me for trying to get the last word in,
Oh yeah.
and she is very successful at it. Let me tell you what. And nothing else. I'll hear the mumble. And it's like she's already gone. I can't respond because
You got to run
she's
out.
mumbled and exited. So now I use the. I started to bring this up in front of her, but I use the 1 Minute Manager book on her. I don't know if you've read the 1 Minute Manager. It is
not.
the greatest tool on dealing with teenagers. I discovered it's a little business novel, and it's looking for the perfect manager and how the perfect manager deals with employees and things like that. And I found it's completely utopian, a waste of time in business. Ain't ever going to happen. But it is the greatest thing to deal with teenagers. Because you basically go in and you say, this is what I don't like. It has nothing to do with you as a person. I want the behavior changed. And then you go in and say, or this is something really good I see you're doing. Keep doing that. And you drop the conversation. Because I figure basically when I had my stepson, I had 3 minutes tops before I was no longer in his mind in the conversation.
3 minutes is a long time.
I know. And that's what I said, that's tops. And so by doing this book, I could go in and within probably a minute and a half, I could say what bothered me and then let it go. And then the biggest thing is I wasn't stressed anymore out of it.
Very good.
And it was funny, I guess it was about three or 4 months ago, my wife told me, said that he was over visiting and she was giving him some grief about something. He said, I just wish you'd be like Ben. Said, and she, of course that didn't help.
Yeah.
But I said that when I was mad at him, I'd come in and I'd say what was wrong and then dropped it and said where she would go 2 and 3 weeks on something about, issues. So the 1 Minute Manager, great way to
I'll check that out.
deal with your teenagers. But I watched Kate get the glaze.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking to her, I don't want you to, so at that point, just let it go. It ain't easy to get better shape because you've already lost. So move on. So
I see it in my class all the
I
time.
took her somewhere a couple of weeks ago and surprised her. Took her to a place I could let her drive my little Australian Capri, my little car, little Renaissance car.
Did we see it on the car show?
No, the car. Yeah, the car was on
Yeah.
the car show. Yeah, you can't see her drive because that would
No,
be,
yeah.
that would be illegal. She's underage,
That's right.
so you can't document that. No, it was in a safe place. It was off private, off in a private area, but it was sort of fun. I don't know if you've taught anybody.
I haven't taught anybody to
first
drive,
time,
but when I was, right before I took driver's ed, we went over to the South Park parking lot, and that was when it was smaller and there were fewer people there. Just go over on a Sunday and with my dad. That's where I learned it when I first handled the car.
What I did was my brother was in the last of the Vietnam draft, and he had an MGB that was a cool car, and he decided and made a mistake, I guess, whichever you want to look at it, and left it at home. He actually didn't go over to Vietnam. He ended up spending 18 fun-filled months over in Germany partying and going Oktoberfest and doing all that stuff. And but I would get home from school and I'd jump in that little MG and start off first just back and forth in the driveway. And we lived in a sort of a rural area at the time. It was outside the city limits. I was like, well, we just sort of go up the street a little bit and back, a little bit farther up the street. That's how I learned how to drive a 5-speed.
It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, but unfortunately, I was discreet enough, being a police officer's son,
Oh, yeah.
not to venture too far, because that's the thing about police officer's son. We have to be more discreet than the preacher's kids.
Did you jack up the back end and roll back the mileage?
Nah, never.
I had a
I
car.
never
that
worried about that.
could
In
do
the old
that.
days, you could have. I did that.
I had a Toyota, 87 Toyota, that when I drove backwards, it rolled the mileage backwards.
Well, I became a good driver. I drove a school bus. I drove fire trucks. Driven ambulances. So that little bit of stuff, I guess, at 13.
Pays off.
Helped me out. I don't know. Maybe not. But anyway, sounds good. I'll play with that one. So anyway, we got the 4-year anniversary coming up. We got some specials coming up this year. We got the car special.
I saw
That was pretty cool. I want to do another. Try to do some more stuff like that. If you have a special, we'll probably have another WavySpace special. I'm sure we will because we got lots of good. We had a Kate special that Kate doesn't know about yet still, because I haven't told her, and so we've got lots of specials to watch for, lots of the regular shows to watch for. I guess with that, we're starting to wrap out time. I want to go out with substantial music on the back end of the show because WavySpace is great. As always, I want to thank camera people. Without them, this show would not happen. Daniel, my director, Dean Smart on audio. EdFox.
Good to be back.
Great host. Glad you're here. We'll miss you next time, and we'll see you probably on the summer. But maybe bring some of your students if you want to. Next fall, we can talk about that. Maybe you don't. But anyway.
I bet they'd come.
Yeah, we're good. I think it's a pretty cool thing to do. If you haven't seen our student shows, we got a student special, and we did a show that probably aired right before this one with some middle school students. We like to give you a variety because that's what I see as being the Renaissance man is all about. And with that, we're going to go out with some great tunes from our variety band, WavySpace. Have a great evening. I'm Ben Copeland. Good night.
I've been putting all my time. I'm in chains. Lord, I feel like I'm in chains. Long day behind me, long night ahead. No doubt I'll be working until the day that I am dead. Freedom, just another jaded catchphrase on the news. The way it seems to me is that we're all getting used. I'm in chains. Lord, I feel like I'm in chains. Oh, trying to find honest work any way I can. Turn right around and settle up with a man. It's hard to be honest in these uncertain days. Most times I feel I'm just a rat in a maze. I'm in chains. Oh Lord, I feel like I'm in chains. Lord, I feel like I'm in chains, yeah. So take me